but then she gets a little experimental with Cry Your Heart Out. And it was definitely a departure away from not content wise, but sonically. And I kind of like the Island Girl version of Adele. You know what I mean?
Island boy, I'm a just island boy. I'm a just island boy.
I really need those to go away.
Let me put you on game.
And let's get into our last topic of the day, and probably the biggest. Adele is back with her newest album, 30. If you're somehow not familiar with Adele, she's an English singer-songwriter who needs absolutely no introduction. She is one of the best-selling artists in the world and in history, and she's made her return to music after 6 years. Her new album 30 is out now, and crazily enough, has outsold every album released this year in only 3 days. So, Certified Lover Boy, nah. Donda, nah. we on that Adele time right now.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get into the album itself. I guess if I had to talk about it overall, I would say I love how the album itself sounds. I love how the sequence actually flows, like this narrative of heartbreak, healing, and new love. It almost seems like the album is in order of how she was feeling over time throughout her divorce and throughout her finding a new relationship. So I really appreciated the album having a central theme, and I thought it really nailed how beautiful the album itself was. But how are you feeling overall about Adele's new offering?
Yeah, man, Adele, she has done it again, my friend. The album is made for the patient listener who is in for an auditory experience. I think it has a tendency to start, each song has a tendency to start off slow, but really pick up tempo and steam as it kind of goes on. And she gets like really vulnerable and personable. She talks about the struggles of divorce, child rearing, finding new love, and her new sense of confidence that's only really made possible from a lot of critical self-reflection. And that is very clear through her lyrics. She has some beautiful, very thought-provoking lyrics through a lot of this album. But that's balanced by her amazing heavenly vocals, some really great usage of violin, acoustic guitar, creative ad-libs that really emphasized her struggles and her learning process, and just the place that she is in life. She's an adult and she feels like an adult, and this feels like an album made for adults. I saw this funny Instagram like interview where she was like, I'm not making music for TikTokers, I'm making music for 30 and 40-year-olds. And I really feel that. Mm-hmm. She has a kid, she has, fame and fortune, but she's struggling with love. She went through a divorce, and she's just letting people know what exactly she's going through, but saying, hey, this is what I learned, and this is what I'm trying to come up on the other side having learned.
For sure. Yeah, it's a very adult album with adult themes, not in a raunchy way, but definitely in an emotionally heavy way. It's a tough, I think it'll be a tough album for like a teenager that, saw the end of a 3-week relationship to understand. I think it's a little deeper than that. She opens it with Strangers by Nature. I thought it almost sounded like a 1940s musical in a way, how stretched out the notes were and how like beautiful and serene the instrumental was. I really enjoy Adele opening the album essentially figuratively mourning the loss of her own heart. I thought that was a really beautiful sentiment. And then that, slides right into Easy on Me. It's a song we talked about and we reviewed for one of our earlier podcasts. You can go check that out on YouTube or one of our earlier podcast feeds. It's a really beautiful song about her worry about being the one that could be blamed for her relationship failing, And I think it's even more beautiful when you consider it being written for her child and saying, I'm sorry that I couldn't make the relationship work. Musically, just really great runs on the piano and a beautiful vocal runs as well from Adele herself, really just showing off her incredible vocal versatility. And My Little Love was also a beautiful song about just explaining to her son who she is as a person, how much she really needs him to get by. And I love that she really bears her insecurities on this song as well. I love the vocal call and response on the chorus, and the vocal sample in the chorus as well was really, really beautiful. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. This open stretch of the album was fantastic. I thought Strangers by Nature actually kind of reminded me of, it gave me like a Christmas song kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And it created a very familiar atmosphere that was very soothing, that was done well with the calming piano. And I thought it was a great way to open the album. Then moving right into Easy on Me, the single, and just listening to it more and more, just really, her lyrics really cut deep, and they made you think about her relationships and the challenges, that she just ultimately has as a parent. It's very relatable when you really dissect the lyrics and just take a step back to see what she's talking about. And then doubling down on that with My Little Love. I really love the R&B soul vibe that she came out with, and just the messaging, like, my little love, tell me, do you feel the way my past aches? I'm like, that's a really interesting way to put it. And then going on to say, when you lay on me, can you hear how my heart breaks? That, like, I felt that. I felt that hard.
You got to be in a certain kind of mental space to listen to this album, for sure.
Yeah, and that's what I realized after listening to it a few times. Listening to it in the car is not the way to listen to it. You got to hear it like alone in a room and just by yourself, so you can feel what she's trying to, what she effectively portrays. And just the vulnerability that she levied during this part of the album and throughout the album, it really enhanced the music in a way that I think a lot of artists try not to get into, because they just are too afraid to be that open. And I thought the audio clips, the samples of her talking to her son were really touching, and it just added to that level of vulnerability. But then she gets a little experimental with Cry Your Heart Out. And it was definitely a departure away from what she, not content wise, but sonically. And I kind of like the Island Girl version of Adele. You know?
I really need those to go away.
Yeah, man. But yeah, she came out with the reggae and the vocal distortions. And I wasn't the biggest fan of the distortions, but the lyrics themselves were really interesting. And she continued with that theme of vulnerability. I thought the beat was dope. It was very upbeat, and it added a nice, pleasant experience to the song. And then moving on to Oh My God, bro, this song has so much juice. The verses were triumphant. The chorus is a banger of an experience. And I just imagine so much defiance and confidence in letting yourself go towards a positive experience that I felt from the song, as she's just embracing, her new lover that is really making her feel good about herself, to say the least. How about you? How do you feel about these next couple songs?
Yeah, I like Cry Your Heart Out. It reminded me a little bit of an Amy Winehouse song. It was a big change of pace. I like the theme of the song with her treating her tears cathartically, essentially, as something as a, sort of a healing practice. It had like a nice little Motown bounce to it, so I thought that was cool. Oh my God, I'm not the biggest fan of the pre-chorus part of it, but I enjoy the chorus a lot. I enjoy the change of pace in terms of the narrative, with her embracing her freedom as a single woman, even though she seems to be conflicted about doing that, coming out of a broken relationship. Can I Get It is one of my favorites on the album. It's one of the more catchy ones, I think, on here. I think it's a good song about her wanting something more serious out of a relationship rather than something casual. I think she was discussing her move to LA and how she found that like most of the relationships out there were casual, and she was looking for something a little bit more. Great melody on the chorus. I Drink Wine, I really enjoyed her experimenting with something a little bit different in terms of the sound on the album. The album itself sounds like a kaleidoscope of all these different genres and influences. I think this one is a little bit more like Elton John than any of the others. I love where she takes the chorus vocally. It's one of her best vocal performances on the album, but a really enjoyable track. And then even All Night Parking, it was the interlude, of course, but it's a little pleasant song about finding love and a long distance relationship in the early stages of that, and kind of like puppy love sort of thing, and that neediness in the beginning of a relationship. So I thought that was cool. But
Can I Get It was fun. It was kind of like it kind of gave me some country hip hop vibes with the acoustic guitar, but then just that hip hop beat. It was very subtle, but it was definitely present. And it made me, it wasn't as much as Old Town Road, but it it was fun her discussing, wanting to be in a relationship and, not wanting the casual sex. And then I Drink Wine, I wrote that this is like the 30-year-old's anthem for the next 5 years from a title perspective. And just, some of these lyrics, when I was a child, every single thing could blow my mind, soaking it all up for fun. But now I only soak up wine. I'm like, mwah. Like, I know so many millennials and, borderline Gen Xers that really feel that kind of mindset. And she just really echoes those sentiments of living in the social media age and just feeling like something is missing and ultimately yearning for a fulfilling relationship or glass of wine, whichever comes first, I suppose, symbolically speaking. And then All Night Parking, again, a really nice interlude. Just her yearning for wanting to be in the presence of someone. And I felt like that was just so honest. Like her not holding back and saying, I want you to be next to me, not trying to be like the cool girl that's standoffish, like, oh no, you got to come to me. She's like, I can't wait to get back home to you. I really felt that. And that was really touching to hear. And then moving on to the song Woman Like Me, I thought it was really subtle and calm while being very clear and cutting. You know what I mean? Like she was very confident. She knew exactly what she wanted. And the acoustic guitar and the simple drum beat along with the bass chords were perfect for creating that atmosphere. But her lyrics were just so expressive. And she knew she deserved better from that failed relationship that she was in. And she was pretty much telling that person, like, here's why you messed up. And here's how I know that I deserve better. And going forward, I'm not going to accept any less. I really dig that because it shows a certain amount of self-awareness that she has. And she was also kind of critiquing herself to a small degree, but ultimately she was okay with the learning process and embracing that and knowing that she was going to move on at having been better from this experience.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely the most biting song on the album. She calling this man out for being insecure, lazy, stubborn. Yeah, she had, like you said, she almost presents herself as like above him and what he has to offer. So I like her confidence in herself there, as opposed to the insecurity that you see earlier on in the album and earlier on in the breakup process. I love Hold On. I really love where she takes it on the last quarter of the song. The choir vocals are incredible. I love how beautiful the instrumental swell was. It's just such an encouraging song about finding peace and happiness in yourself, but also resilience. I thought that was really encouraging. And man, To Be Loved, bro. Like, this song alone is capable of sending someone into like an emotional spiral. Like, it's one of my favorites on the album. Her vocals towards the end are so powerful and so just absolutely heartbreaking. And the song itself just really shows how great she is as a vocalist to take such a stripped back, slow instrumental and completely carry it with just her pure vocal ability. And her vocals towards the end are some of the best vocals that I've heard this year, honestly. Like, she was absolutely incredible. I wanted to cry, bro. like it was that deep. Like I felt like I was coming out of the divorce and I just got married like 3 months ago. So yeah, it was definitely really, really touching to hear how well she can express herself over an instrumental. And then she closes it out with Love Is a Game, which is really intriguing, how she essentially closes the album in a very similar fashion to how she opens it, because it sounds a whole lot like the first track, and just how much it sounds like it comes from, I heard she was inspired a lot by Judy Garland. So it's a very like Wizard of Oz, Breakfast at Tiffany's type of instrumental that really just takes it back to that older sound that, she said, and I agree with that, it's the sound that you don't really hear that often. It's you can hear like a Frank Sinatra duet over it or something, but it definitely starts in that place, like you said earlier as well, and it builds like so many of the other instrumentals on this album do, and it builds vocally and instrumentally, and the end I think is absolutely heavenly. So it was one of the better closing tracks I've heard this year. She really closes it out strong, and I think it's a very strong album overall.
I feel the same way in terms of like Hold On. That song, just that last minute and a half just takes you to a new world, man. It becomes a ballad. It goes from like a very slow, subtle song to just a pure ballad. And I love that. I love me some ballads, man. To Be Loved, just how she only Adele can carry a 6-minute song with her vocals and a simple piano beat. That's all I got to say about To Be Loved, because it was incredible, and it's one of the simpler songs that you'll hear this year in terms of just the different things, the different elements of the song. It's her voice, it's piano, and her lyrics that just take you on a journey. As well as the latter half of the song where she's just singing her butt off. And then finally, Love Is a Game. I agree, a great outro track. The organ piano kind of gave me like a funeral vibe that was undercut by a really sweet piano and a very calming acoustic guitar. And the song becomes more layered over the beat and the chorus, and it's just really inspirational. The drumming really helped to create like a modern texture that I felt was very contemporary, but because of her overall style and the overall aesthetic was just extremely unique to her, and just only music that I feel like only Adele can actually produce. Because she takes all these different genres, like you said, and kind of like a kaleidoscope, you look into it and you just see so much, but her vocals are a one of one, and she's able to just do stuff that no one else can do. And just great background singing, great piano. Man, just a hell of an experience, this project.
Truly, truly, yeah. Let's go favorite tracks.
Yeah.
Let's go 4. I'll give you a break. Let's go. Let's go 4.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go To Be Loved, Love Is a Game. This is tough. Can I Get It, and My Little Love.
Those are good. That's a good 4. For me, Love Is a Game, My Little Love, Oh My God, and Easy on Me.
Yeah, Easy on Me was right there. It's tough.
It is.
But I mean, that's a sign of a good album, I think. But if you had to recommend this to our listeners, if they haven't come across this Adele album yet or haven't found the time to listen to it, what would you say? What would be your level of recommendation?
I might get some flack for this, but I would say that this album is highly recommended for me, because I feel like she's entering a new phase of her life, and I think this project really highlights that. It's kind of a final chapter in a story that is being put to rest, but I felt like there's a lot of closure in it. And I don't know if it was her best project per se, but it was enjoyable to me. And I liked every song, but I don't know if I can always be in the space to listen to this project front to back. And I think it takes a lot out of me to kind of listen to it as a whole. So as great as it is, I don't know if it's going to be for everyone to listen to from front to back to really appreciate all the little intricacies that she does. But it's one heck of a project, and I couldn't recommend it any more than that.
I feel you. I struggle with that too. I think it's an album. I'm gonna base my rating on where I think the album will be for me a month from now, because it's so hard to evaluate albums that are this dense in such a short period of time, because we try to operate within the internet standards, but I think this album really needs time. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a must listen. I think that it's an album that is, I think, in the future going to be seen as one of the most essential breakup albums given time, because I think that she does a lot on this album in terms of her experimentation with sound. I think that you see her at her best vocally during a lot of spots on this album. You can hear the pain in her voice. I think she just put a lot of emotional investment into it, and I can feel it. Again, yeah, it isn't the easiest listen. It's very much in the Kendrick Lamar To Pimp a Butterfly. I listen to this album twice a year, 3 times a year. But when I do, it's a full experience, and I got to have the full experience type of thing. But for me, I don't think that takes away from its greatness for me personally. So I would say that it's a must listen. But yeah, let us know in the comments or in an email what you think about Adele's new offering. Do you think it's her best album? Do you think it's her greatest offering so far, or is there another Adele album that you enjoy more?